Hello, good morning everyone. Today is a good day. Happy Tuesday for those of you that might be having a hard time remembering what day it is. I know sometimes I do. Have to look at my watch and make sure I know what actual day it is. The days can kind of blend. And so I'm just looking outside here, and it's a bit overcast here in Minnesota and a bit dark. Some storms last night. So it's supposed to, transform into a very warm day. So even that transition and that transformation of the day will be welcome. Be welcome to have a day where we can be outside and be active and out in nature. So I see Darlene is just logged on. Good morning, Darlene. So this morning, as we continue to explore our this creative recovery and cultivating our creative imagination, especially during these times where we don't have as many as much external choice or liberty out in our environment. We're building our internal freedom, which is really, the more I share on this and the more I just connect to the practices over the years of when I was first introduced to this notion of the distinction between our external liberty and our internal freedom, and the encouragement back then to develop internal freedom. And it was really around self-development, and it was really around developing ability to lead one's life, to make choices as someone who's leading their own life, and also making choices for those who are leading others. And so I just think of how important it is, and just what an opportunity to really practice this. This is no longer just something. This has become a study that is no longer just something that is great to study for personal success, or in our careers, or in those areas of life. It's this cultivation of our internal freedom, our self-awareness, our creative imagination, our independent will, our development of our conscience. These are now these are survival skills, and so it's really profound to really recognize that these have gone from personal enrichment skills to survival skills, at least the way that I'm experiencing them. And so I just wanted to bring that forward this morning. Our conversation this morning in the Artist's Way book, as we develop our creative imagination, is recovering a sense of compassion. And so there's some things I'd just like to just share here with regard to reframing fear, understanding what enthusiasm is and how we can work with, understand what is the felt sense of enthusiasm in our life, and how can we understand what enthusiasm is and work with it. And then creative U-turns. I think that's another powerful frame to understand what we can often do as recovering creative people, and just to know what are the common pitfalls, and once we are aware of them, and if we recognize that pattern in ourselves, how can we do something different with that as self-awareness? It certainly has been the case with me, and I'll share a few other reflections on compassion. So let's just start with this concept of fear as it relates to compassion, self-compassion, and eventually, hopefully, that self-compassion will lead you to compassion for others. As I was reflecting and preparing for this morning, this notion of fear, and often, when people when someone is creatively blocked, they will. It may look like they are, unproductive. It could that people can start to be self-critical or critical of others, that this person is lazy or they're unmotivated. And I thought it was really a really powerful frame the first time I heard it, and certainly the following times I heard it and read it in the Artist's Way book. That to really when you're blocked creatively, to call it what it is, and that it's fear. Fear is what blocks us. And so instead of getting frustrated at what we're not doing, we can say, hey, I'm blocked here. I'm blocked in my ability to move forward, to create that project, create that change. And I can recognize, what's blocking me is fear. And once we name it as fear, then that can be helpful, because then we're no longer wondering why we're doing this or why we're not doing that. But we're saying, I'm blocked here. There's some fear in me, and how can I work with that fear and transform that fear so I can start moving forward again? You can ask yourself, what am I afraid of? And so she also talks about how the creative person is anything but lazy. They spend a tremendous amount of energy internally spinning their wheels around, blocked in that fear. They spend a tremendous amount of internal energy, and so it has not through lack of energy and motivation. It's a lack of ability to feel safe again and feel confident to start moving forward. So I think that's really a powerful frame of mind. I see Henrietta and Kathy have logged on, so good morning Henrietta, good morning Kathy. And so when we find that we find ourselves creatively blocked, remind ourselves to center for a moment and say, okay, there's the fear. What am I afraid of? Okay, well, I'm afraid of, name it. This is what I'm afraid of. What action can I take? Who can I connect to? What conversation can I have to help to start move through that fear and get back to a sense of safety and a sense of passion and love again, so I can start moving my creativity forward. I thought that was really powerful. And then she goes on to talk about enthusiasm, and this has been a word that has really captured my imagination over the years, along with those three, positive mindsets or positive energetic states of acceptance, enjoyment, and enthusiasm. That this enthusiasm comes from, I believe, the Latin or the Greek, which means with God. So this notion that we are in this spiritual state of enthusiasm when we have an inspired vision on the horizon that is drawing us forward, and it's creating this deep sense of enjoyment within us as we move towards it. And this is really powerful. I've experienced this, and it's been helpful to have a mental frame to name it and to recognize it as I'm experiencing it, so I can open up to experiencing that more and more. And so this notion of when we're in enthusiasm, the best metaphor that I've read over the years is this: it's like an arrow flying towards the target, but in no hurry to arrive. In other words, this arrow that's flying towards the bullseye of this target, but it's enjoying the journey and enjoying and loving every step along the way. So that's really, I don't know, that excites me every time I think of that, and I think of the times that I've been in enthusiasm in my life where I have a goal, I have an objective, I have a vision, I'm moving there, but I love every step. I love every email communication, every conversation, every planning session. I'm excited for the completion of it, and at the same time, I'm enjoying every step along the way. And fortunately, I just got to experience that this past week as I was preparing to teach on somatics. And when I was getting ready to teach, when I was planning and preparing, I got to enjoy. I really was in this state of enthusiasm the whole week leading up to the event. And so I was really grateful to experience enthusiasm and have a frame of reference, like from time to time go, hey, this is, I'm in this enthusiastic state. And that it was really powerful. Before I really learned what enthusiasm was, I definitely felt it, but I didn't really have a frame of reference, so it was hard to appreciate it. It was hard to really take it all in at a conscious level versus just having a really enjoyable experience but not knowing how to name it. So enthusiasm, looking for those times in our lives where we're paying attention to these creative impulses, these inspired images in us, and then we're not just letting them pass through our imagination as whimsical or fancy. We're saying, hey, this has come up 2 or 3 times for me, and I'm going to pay attention here, and maybe this is something that I'm being called to bring into the world. Whatever that is, maybe it's a creative sculpture, a painting, maybe it's doing a YouTube series, maybe whatever it is, maybe it's a creative home project, but noticing those recurrent inspirations that come to us in the form of imagination and imagined images, that we pay attention to them and we actually consider moving them from imagination into operation in our lives. So I see Kathy is on. Good morning, Kathy. And so let's talk about this next topic with regard to creative imagination, which is creative U-turns. So this was profound when I first learned this about a year ago, that when we start to open up to our creativity and our creative life, she said something that really resonated with my experience. Perhaps it'll resonate with your experience too, and that is most creative people commit what she called creative harikari, or creative suicide, on the eve of or in the wake of a creative success. So I thought that was really profound. So what she's saying there is that when we're about to have a creative success, something that we have brought into our lives, that it's very common energetically for a creative person to have something that they can really feel is going to be well received, and they will, we will do something to ensure that it does not succeed the night before or immediately after the success. And so that could look like we have this great project going, this big event we planned, and everything is moving where it's being well received, and there's high participation, and there's a few steps to make sure it goes off as planned, and somehow we might feel this way where we have 3 more communications to send to make sure everybody knows the logistics, but we lose steam and we don't do those last few steps. So the event or the project becomes half of what it could be. Or we deliver that event and we feel this, it's well received, all the feedback is amazing, we can feel it, and we promise that we're going to follow up with a follow-up communication and bring forward the next project so people can start looking forward to that and registering for that or whatever the project is. And in the wake of it, we retreat. We don't send the communication. We don't put together the next event or the next project for them, those people that just experienced the first one, to start to enroll and start to get excited about. So there's a number of ways that we can do it, but I think the self-awareness piece is to recognize that it's common when we're starting to recover our creativity is this sudden disengagement before or immediately after a creative success. And it's certainly been powerful for me, because now if I'm putting something together that's really successful, then I'll be aware and present to that moment where I might commit to creative suicide before or after the event, and then recenter and recommit to a new practice and a new behavior. This could be, doesn't have to be a creative project or an event. It could be a personal change that you're wanting to make. Could be in the area of personal change, health, wellness, fitness. It could be you want to make this personal change. You've done all the prep work. You're going to, I come from a background in fitness, and so you could be wanting to, do this weight loss program, and you decide you got all the food set up, you have, all the literature all set up, the food log set up, and the night before you just completely go off track and you end up eating food that is not on the plan at all and completely destroying your motivation. Or you could have this great success finishing this program and making the body changes and the weight loss that you intended to make, and in the moment it's over, you go off and go right back to those old behaviors again. And so I think it's that self-awareness to know that this is common, that the hours leading up to and the hours leading after a creative success are really key to be really present to old behaviors that are no longer useful, and to work through them skillfully so they don't end up causing us to move off of track and go backwards. So the last thing, as we're finishing up this conversation on self-compassion, or recovering a sense of compassion, is a mindset that we can be in, that's offered here in this particular book on creativity. And this is a phrase, this is like a mantra that she offers, and I certainly will use it as a mantra as I'm in my creative projects, and that is, instead of worrying about the end result of something, she'll say, you creative spirit, you take care of the quality, I'll take care of the quantity. So on a spiritual level, she connects to her sense of her higher power, however that is for you, on who's ever watching right now, whether you have a formal religious tradition or you have whatever your sense of spirituality is. You're connecting to that higher power through faith and saying, as I'm in my creative process, you're saying to your higher power, you take care of the quality, what comes out of the creative process. I, as the creative person or the artist, I'll take care of the quantity. In other words, I will do the work. I will continue to do the morning pages. I'll continue to commit to a certain amount of time every day in cultivating my creativity. And for me, that's been very empowering. In other words, I don't have to evaluate what comes out of my creative process. I don't have to worry if it's good enough, or I just have to commit to my end of the bargain, which is to stay in the creative practices on a daily basis, and just have faith that what is supposed to come out of that process is, I leave that to faith. And so that has been very empowering to me over the years. So that's my overall reflection on this chapter, on recovering a sense of compassion. And I hope that is inspiring and supportive to all of you in your creative pursuits with regard to being compassionate around when we're blocked. We talked about understanding what enthusiasm is, and when we're in that state, having a way to name it, and recognizing, having compassion for ourselves on when we have those creative U-turns. Being vigilant when we're going to have a creative success, being vigilant in the hours before and the hours after a creative success, so we don't end up sabotaging ourselves with old behaviors. It's really key. And then part of the self-compassion is committing to doing the work and not overly concerning ourselves with the quality that comes out of that, but to have faith there. So with that, let's begin our self-awareness and centering practices before the meditation this morning. So I just invite everybody to recognize your mood right now. Notice if what your mood is, and we're meeting that without judgment, without attachment, and without resistance. Whether you're happy, sad, melancholy, angry, frustrated, whatever it is, just naming it, acknowledging it, working with it as it is. As I feel into my mood right now, I feel accepting. So notice what your mood is for you. And then notice the most dominant sensation in your body right now. And for me, if I feel in, it's a felt sense of coolness on the surface of my skin. So notice what the most dominant sensation there is in your body with regard to temperature, movement, felt sense of weight, texture, your felt sense of shape. And then let's begin by relaxing your eyes and relaxing your jaw. So relax your jaw. And relaxing the muscles in your neck. Let's bring our shoulders up and clench our fists. Drop them down. Again, let's bring our shoulders up, contract. And then feel into your shoulders. Opening up your chest. Relaxing your diaphragm. Relaxing the muscles in your belly. Dropping your breath. Relaxing your pelvic muscles. So relaxing the muscles in your hips. Can even contract in, pull up, and then release. And pulling up and in, pull your pelvis up and in. And then slowly release and feel. Remember, as we feel, we're feeling for temperature, movement, texture, felt sense of length, width, and depth as we feel into our bodies. Relaxing your thighs and knees, calves and shins, feet and toes. Just creating space there. And then notice if your mood has already started to shift. I'm noticing to model that. I'm noticing I'm already more grounded. Feeling more of my hips, more of my feet into the ground. Then let's begin to center here in our length. So start to create a straightening in our vertical line, whether you're standing or sitting. And we're both straightening and we're settling at the same time. And feeling ourselves as a bridge between heaven and earth. Let's take a deep breath in with our imagination, our attention to the crown of our head. Deep breath in. And exhale through your feet and hands. Deep breath in through your feet and hands. Pull that breath through your body. Exhale out through the crown of your head. Let's bring our attention to width here. So starting here with this beginning posture. Bringing attention to ourselves, our commitment to ourselves and self-care. Cultivating our well-being, cultivating our mind, attending to our emotional life and our spiritual life, feeling the boundaries of our skin, allowing that to be a metaphor for our personal boundaries in life, what we say no to, what we say yes to. And extending out, extend out to somebody perhaps that's in the room or in your home with you right now. Maybe it's not a person, maybe it's it's a pet. Maybe you can extend out to some living thing outdoors. There's a large tree out here, so I'm extending out, including that in my field of awareness, that part of nature. And then I'm extending out using our imagination and our attention, extending out to everyone on this call. So I'm imagining, using my imagination to imagine all of you standing here in a circle, as though we're in a meditation room or yoga room, that we're here, you're all standing here in my imagination. And noticing what that does when you allow yourself to imagine that. For me, it creates a sense of connection. The felt sense is as if you're all standing here. And that creates a calming effect in me. That creates a sense of connection and safety for me. And see what it does for you. And Let's take a deep breath in through our left hand. Pull that breath through the center of your body. Exhale out your right. Take a deep breath in through your right hand. And exhale out your left hand. Relaxing your arms. Let's bring attention to our somatic depth from front to back. So leaning forward, imagine that space in front of you as your future, your visions, your yearnings, your longings. And then lean back into your chair, lean back onto your heels, and imagine the space behind you as your history, all the experiences that have led up to this moment. As you lean into your back, lean into the wisdom of your experience, lean into your talents and abilities. Imagine your teachers, those teachers who have come into your life, shaped your life, and those ones you can never really repay. You can bring your attention to those transient teachers that just came into your life, taught you something, and then moved on. And you can bring your attention to those teachers who initiated you. In other words, they didn't just introduce you to a new way, but they stayed with you and helped you develop into that on a formal path of study and are perhaps still in your life today. So bringing in all those teachers at your back. And then you start to extend out into the future, the trajectory of this day, the trajectory of the rest of this week, the rest of this month. What's possible? What can you see? What's inspiring you? Then let's find an even balance from front to back. We feel our history at our back. We feel our future at our front. And then we're centering ourselves here, poising ourselves between those two experiences. Finding a point that is effortless to sit or stand here. And allowing that felt sense of effortlessness to be the felt sense of the present moment. And let's take a deep breath in for the space in front of you. So breathing in your future, if you will. Pull up through your body, exhale out your back. And then one more, taking a deep breath in through your back, breathing in your history, if you will. Pull that breath through your body, exhale out the space in front of you. Just feeling a felt sense of centeredness in your depth. Let's bring attention and energy to your right hand. Place that below your navel, allowing you to help to drop out of the thinking self down into the feeling self. Let's take 3 deep breaths together. So a deep breath into the center of your body. And exhale. A deep breath into your felt sense of purpose. And a deep breath into the mystery. As we complete there, invite you to gently close your eyes. Start to enter that contemplative and meditative space. And as you enter there, remind yourself, for the sake of what, that you're doing this practice, that you're doing this meditation. We'll enter in with the words of David White. And the poet says, "Enough. These few words are enough. If not these words, this breath. If not this breath, this sitting here. This opening to the life we have refused again and again. Until now. Until now." Enough. These words are enough. If not these words, this breath. If not this breath, this sitting here. This opening to the life, this creative life we have refused again and again. Until now. Until now. And as we close our practice today, remind yourself again, for the sake of what? And then on your next exhale, very slowly and very gently begin to move your arms and legs. And then very slowly and very gently begin to open your eyes and let the outside world come back in again. Take a moment to recognize your mood right now. Notice if your mood has shifted. Even notice if the most dominant sensation that you're feeling has shifted. Even notice if your thoughts have shifted. Your sense of possibility and hope for the day, for the week, for the month has shifted. As I feel into my own experience, I really have shifted into a real felt sense of gratitude and expansion. Gratitude for this time, the time to share, time to connect, and expanding into all the possibilities that this day holds, this week holds, and all the positive changes that are going to come out of this this unexpected time that we're all facing. So I just want to thank everybody for joining this morning meditation session and reflection. Tomorrow I'll be sharing reflections on recovering a sense of self-protection from the Artist's Way book. And I'm eager to share the morning again with you all tomorrow. So bye for now. Wishing you all a day of self-compassion and compassion for others. So bye for now, and see you in the morning.